Hello, everybody, and here we are in beautiful Santa Barbara, California, driving the all-new 2023 Lexus RX, but this isn't just any RX. You might not have seen it on the outside, but this is the 500h F Sport Performance. Yes, we have a Performance RX, and we are in the seat of it, and we are about to take an extensive test drive to show you what it's like to be behind the wheel of the most powerful Lexus RX ever made.
Just like that, we are past 60 miles per hour.
Granted, yes, down a hill.
Down a hill. But, wow. We are in an RX, so, traditionally speaking, performance is not what you associate with a Lexus RX. But with this F Sport Performance, we're really trying to change that perception. And initial thoughts, the power feel is pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. Lexus says the 0-60 is about 5.9 seconds. I would say that that's about right.
Yeah, down a hill it's about 4.
But let's talk about the actual specs, of course, about what is powering this 500h. So this is a 2.4 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine with the hybrid system. It is a more powerful hybrid system, and the total output is going to be 366 horsepower, 406 pound-feet of torque. So like I said, very nice and healthy numbers. And this is the most powerful Lexus RX that they have ever made, of course. Previously, you had the 450h model was the most powerful one. It did have a V6, but this is pretty substantially more powerful than even that model.
And we are indeed going to focus on this 500h F Sport Performance model in this video right here. That said, there are different configurations that you can get of this RX. So if this top dog engine is not what you're looking for and you want something a little bit more subdued, they do offer the 350, which is just the regular 2.4 liter turbo 4-cylinder. They offer the 350h, which is basically a base version of the hybrid system that has a little less power, and then they will also offer a 450h plus, which is a plug-in hybrid version.
Now, if you're familiar with Lexus, their normal hybrid system, you'll know that this is nothing like that. This is really totally different, and one of the other things that makes it totally different, besides for the fact that everything has got a different arrangement, is the fact that we do have a 6-speed automatic transmission. So traditionally, of course, with a hybrid, you're going to have a continuously variable transmission. That is the case with the 350h model, but when you choose the 500h, that's going to upgrade you to the 6-speed automatic transmission. Gives you that nice traditional feel behind the wheel, which I do appreciate. It's not common to have a hybrid system paired with a traditional automatic, but you put your foot down, you've got gear changes.
Right.
We even have paddle shifters on the steering wheel, so you can go through the corners and shift through the gears here, which is pretty funny in an RX. I'm just not accustomed to it, but
yeah. And one thing I do want to point out is the sound coming into the cabin. That's the one thing that really, upon our first acceleration taking off this morning, I was like, I kind of like it. It sounds really good. The amplification, now of course that's a little bit of fake noise being pumped into this cabin, but honestly, we've said it in past reviews, if you have a little bit of fake noise that makes it sound good in the cabin, I don't really care that much, especially for a vehicle like this. Dang! Yeah.
Alright, that was a good 0-60. It was a little downhill, but mostly flat. Yeah, it has good pickup. Going from a complete stop, you've got like a tiny bit of time, where the system sorts out how much power you need, but then it puts it down. And of course, you do have an all-wheel drive system. It's a direct 4 all-wheel drive system, so it is special to this model.
Yeah, and I think you really will notice the torque figure more so than even the power figure. Is that 406 pound-feet of torque is a lot of torque, so it really pushes you back in your seat when all the electric components and the turbos start kicking in. It really does a great job there. Now, since we're just kind of cruising along on a straight stretch of the road here, I want to discuss some very important parts about an RX. After all, this is an RX. Still, even in the 500h F-Sport Performance, yes, it is more performance-oriented than other RX models. That said, it's still an RX at heart. So we're going to have a really great ride quality going on here. We drove probably about 30 minutes before we started shooting this video, and on the highway, it really soaks up the bumps very well on a rough stretch of highway. I know this is a little bit of a smoother road, so you're not going to see all of that, but it does a great job of just soaking up the bumps, being a traditional RX, and the fact that it's very comfortable, the seats are comfortable. I really have zero complaints in terms of the ride quality, which is impressive because they have improved the dynamics for this 500h model.
Right, let's kind of talk about that. We don't have a ton of curves going on here, but like Mason was saying, everything really is enhanced with this model to just be more buttoned down without losing those traditional RX characteristics. So you'll notice behind the wheel, when you go around corners, everything feels nice and balanced. We don't have a bunch of body roll or anything. This is not your grandma's Lexus RX, as you could say, because if you've ridden in previous RXs, you'll know comfort is the most important thing. So adding in performance here, we haven't really sacrificed much in terms of comfort, but we do have that extra performance. Steering, still very lightweight, but it is nice and responsive. You can see how quickly you get that input once you start turning. So I do like the enhancements because we haven't lost traditional RX characteristics. This is still going to be very comfortable in your day-to-day life, but you do have that added ability to go on a country road, have a little bit of a good time, push it with the power.
Yeah, and another thing that I want to mention is that on both of the F-Sport models, you do get an adaptive variable suspension. So the suspension definitely will enhance your driving experience. Adaptive variable suspensions are great for being able to have comfort as well as that sporty element. And you are going to get that on not only this 500h model, but also the other F-Sport variants. And here we are going 55 miles an hour, so I'll go ahead and get a sound level reading. After the Army convoy.
I don't know if it's going to be can't call that a fair reading next to some tanks.
Sitting pretty steady at 55.3 decibels, which is a very good reading. These California roads are actually rougher than most roads back home in Lexington, so I look forward to testing out this RX back home for an extensive week-long period to get that most accurate sound level reading. That said, 55 is really a phenomenal reading for any vehicle on any road surface, so very impressed with that.
We're getting the most strange messages pop up.
It just keeps pointing out.
No, but it's a different one. You know what it says? It says set up.
Set up.
S-I-T up. Not set up, sit up. Like I'm fell over in the seat or something. Sit up. Sit up, boy. You have bad posture.
And wrapping us up in terms of this test drive period, let's go ahead and talk about some more practical elements that you're curious about knowing. Now, of course, this 500h model does have an H attached to it. And like Drew said, that does mean that you get not only the performance, but you're also going to have a little bit of a fuel economy benefit as well. So this model is going to be rated at 27 miles a gallon combined. It's 27 in the city, 28 on the highway, which is really great fuel economy figures for something with this much power. It has a ton of power, guys. So to get that nearly 30 miles a gallon rating is pretty impressive. Now, of course, they do offer other RX models that are going to get a lot better fuel economy. The 350h, namely, is going to get 36 mpg, so if you're looking for the maximum fuel economy figure, go for the 350h. But if you want sport as well as the fuel economy, this 500h is a really great option for that. And finally, let's go ahead and talk about the pricing information. I'm sure that's might be the part you're most curious about. We've sold you on this 500 F Sport Performance in terms of the driving experience, but how much is it going to cost? Unfortunately, at the time that we're shooting this video, we do not have the pricing information released. This is a pretty early drive of this all-new Lexus RX, so the 500h F Sport Performance, its pricing is not released. That said, we do know this is going to be the most expensive RX that you can buy, and if Lexus has released the pricing information by the time you see this video, we'll go ahead and add it into either the comment section down below, or we'll add it into the video itself.
But in conclusion here, I have to say I'm pretty impressed by this Lexus 500h F Sport Performance. I think really the big takeaway for me, having spent time with this model, is that maybe this is the best combination of the two. This might be the perfect RX for a lot of you guys, because you've got the additional performance like we mentioned. You've got that speed, better handling, better dynamics, but you also don't give up all those traditional RX strong suits that you're going to enjoy, like the ride quality and the space. So, if you're willing to go up to the top of your budget, this might be the best RX in the lineup.